serenaded, celebrated. Ooh, very patient. See, I'm not so complicated. Ooh, kakwama on my mind. Your toes are juicy, align. Moyo kapiga sign, kisha underline. Only free because you let me be. That's the love I want for me. Long time was so baridi. Can't deny the chemistry. Ukakwama on my mind. Tuka alive. Tuka bigger sign.
Nobody else can match my energy. Cheesy come my cheesy come my we up all night and still we cannot be busy on the AM. Cheesy come my cheesy come my
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
This is Hendrix Sam.
Hekima mdomoni mwake na uzuri wake wasambaza kote. Heshima kwake ni msingi, akiipeana apewa kwa wingi. Kusu kusu kusu, wivu na wivu, chama hayake, mwendo wake. Kusu kusu kusu, wivu na wivu, chama hayake. Manzi wa maana, ni manzi wa nguvu, manzi ambaye amwogopaye Mungu siku zake zote. Ni manzi
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Alrighty. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Happy Monday. Happy new week. On this 17th day of the second month, we are cruising nicely in this 2025. Welcoming you officially to this cruise called the Power Morning Drive Show. I'm your host, Wanyoike. We do this all the way till 10 in the a.m. So you do want to stick around. What's coming up on the lineup? Of course, some traffic updates. We also have what has been making around the waves of news locally and internationally, and a lot has been going on, so we will get to discuss that. And of course, today we shall be talking a little bit about diplomacy. You know, we just saw the conclusion of the Africa Union elections, and so it got me thinking we should have a conversation about international relations and the world of diplomacy with a twist to it. So you do want to stick around to find out exactly what we shall be delving into that conversation much later. But do get in touch with us on our social media handles. We are at Power Radio. We are on X. We are on Instagram. We are also on Facebook, and we are also on our YouTube channel, and we are streaming live on all those platforms. Yes, so if you do want to find us and catch us there, kindly go and head out on that on those platforms for you to be tuned in and to be up to speed with what is going on this side of the Sahara. We're also on our website www.power254.org/Power Radio, and then we are also, I think that's just about it. The hashtag to use if you want to get in touch with me directly is hashtag Power Morning Drive. You can also at me directly at Instagram Wanyoike, and also on X at the Wanyoike. Right, because I'm already at work, I think it's just fair for me to let you know what is happening on the roads so that you can get yourself to work at least swifter. So we start off with the day's traffic updates. Of course, with the high and mighty Thika Road, kama kawaida, nothing different happening today. Garden City Mall all the way down towards Pangani down into town, it's bumper to bumper. Things are looking quite hefty on your end this morning. The same situation is happening across Kiambu Road. I can see that all roads are red from Karura Forest Gate C. I think that's the area around DCI. There's a little bit of not actually a little bit, heavy traffic. Just before that, a little bit of a snarl up there as you go from Ridgeways Mall down towards town. The same situation is happening across Limuru Road from Village Market down towards Muthaiga intersection as you go towards Parklands. Same situation happening across that area as well. I can also see that Lower Kabete Road is looking quite busy this morning as you go from Zen Garden down towards Westlands. Actually at Silver Springs police station, things are looking quite bumper to bumper on your end this morning. Same situation happening across Waithaka Way as you go from Kabete National Polytechnic. It's a little bit of a snarl, clears out all the way down towards ABC Place, and then in Ashikania Pale Westlands into University Way. The same situation also happening across Ngong Road. From the Junction Mall down towards Coptic Hospital, things are looking bumper to bumper. You guys should be out of the woods in no time. So do let me know what's happening across there. Let's go to the other side of town. Let's start with the Manyanja Road as you go towards, from Embakasi down towards Cabanas. Things are looking quite busy on your end as well. And Hakusongi, from what I can see here, it's quite busy this morning. Jogoo Road, pia inasema that you guys will have to be a little bit patient for you to get into town. So things are looking quite busy this morning. I can also see that Mombasa Road from Bellevue, things are looking actually all the way from the Next Gen Mall, Capital Center, all that stretch towards the Nairobi West Hospital. Hakuangaliki, hakupiti tiki jamani, but in no time you guys should be good. Bunyala Road is also looking busy this morning. Langata Road is also looking the same from Uhuru Gardens down towards Western Hotel, down towards as you go towards the Timor intersection. Things are looking quite busy this morning. Raila Odinga Road, clear as ever before. Nothing much happening on that road as well. In case of any accidents or incidents, do let us know. The hashtag to use is hashtag Power Morning Drive. Let's get into some music, and then when we come back, we get into what has been making headlines both locally and internationally, of course, including the very heavily contested Africa Union chairmanship. Keep it Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Many faces, many races. I've come through many places, but I never seen a sky so blue. My mind and so free and so whole, yeah. But I never seen a sky so blue.
Yo, giddy maji, yeah. And the 6 SA Groove Machine, come on, D-Rex, what? Yo, inega go wato ok nege. Imaka go wato ok make. Dene, yote to kwalo pesa wa ebengi. Intame, aneko kibithoko uko taya. Maji tapo shine. Pile katache, kakilo no watch mara dierka himo 44. Tida window kaluora, olo mi amor. Ping to the war, go chonge pinyi lem. Yesu, Lion of Judah. Nene, maricho mase timoneji. Tobene wena, aher ngata wenga. Kadita loke Judas ma Iscariot.
Many faces, many faces.
Yeah.
I've come through many places,
Yeah.
but I never seen a sky so
Giddy maji,
my mind and so
Yeah.
free and so whole, yeah.
Yeah.
But I never seen a sky so
Giddy maji. With your pin, get your moko, mako misatan. Marakora to wena, me akan. Cheno manya sa en mana, nikik ala. Anginga, tawenga, nena kakachal. Cheno manya sa en mana, nikik ala. Para donje wiya, kaneno gigingiya. Nikata tim nanade, meto donje wiya.
many faces, many faces. I've come through many places, but I never seen a sky so blue. My mind and so free and so whole, yeah. But I never seen a sky so blue. Many faces, many faces.
Yeah.
I've come through many places,
Yeah.
but I never seen a sky so
Giddy maji.
my mind and so
Yeah.
free and so whole, yeah.
Yeah.
But I never seen a sky so
Giddy maji. Okay, badala wizi na shika MIC kama 2PSC MC kutoka Kenya Joe.
Ayo, nani atasema tia tujafika na siku hizi tunasikika Afrika.
Nawakilisha, natisha, nabisha, left right, yani kulia kushoto, staki msoto.
Yani ndiyo maana siku hizi tuna rock out kutoka Cairo yani mpaka Cape Town.
many faces, many faces.
Yeah.
I've come through many places,
Yeah.
but I never seen a sky so
Giddy maji.
my mind and so
Yeah.
free and so whole, yeah.
Yeah.
But I never seen a sky so
Giddy maji.
seen a sky so
Giddy, giddy, machi, machi, giddy, giddy, machi,
my mind and so free and so whole, yeah. But I never seen a sky so
giddy, giddy, machi, machi, giddy,
there's many races. I've come through many places, but I never seen a sky so blue. My mind and soul so free and so whole, yeah. But I never seen a sky so blue.
Pawa Radio. Tune in and power up.
African beauty, tall, dark, and handsome. Gave me his number, I gave him my name. That marked the beginning of such a beautiful thing. I don't know what I'm feeling when he's around. My head touches the ceiling, far back to the ground. Is it love or just infatuation? Whatever it is, I just love the sensation. About my African king, I love his big brown eyes and the color of his skin. I can't breathe whenever he's not around. I go weak, oh yeah, whenever he comes around. I don't know what I'm feeling when he's around. My head touches the ceiling, far back to the ground. Is it love or just infatuation? Whatever it is, I just love the sensation. Jana moja, kijana moja, sikuli, siyogi, and I'm so glad he's my rock, he's my power, he's my warrior king. He's got my back, he's no coward. He's my ebony baby, coffee skin like a Howard. He's my hero, my strength, he's my African Jack Bauer. And I don't know what I'm feeling when he's around. My head touches the ceiling, fall back to the ground. Is this love or just infatuation? Whatever it is, I just love the sensation. Jana moja, kijana moja, sikuli, siyogi, nampenda, nampenda. What I'm feeling, yeah. Oh, to the ceiling, yeah. Oh, nampenda, yeah.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Mimi nimesikia uchungu, juale. Mimi hata madari muniue, muache watoto. Tafadhali mtuue sisi wazee. Umetuachia nani? Sasa huyo kijana amekufa hapo, mama yake amewachwa na nani?
Mtoto amelazwa mochari, niliambiwa nikiwa kazi. Walimupiga risasi hadharani, katumwa kamwone babake mguuni. Baby, I cried, I promise I cried. Nilimpa kura, amekumaliza, many
dead boy turn off the lights. We were just fresh from a fight. My involvement on the Kenyan's plight. Sorry mama, didn't mean to be rude. Late night tears in your room, so I had to fill in his shoes. Cause things are going my shire hood. Well, I saw Mato and Brayo marching next to me. Top of our vocals to the shout, reject finance bill. While little bigger smoke on our batons, protesting peacefully. Kishagiza totoro, niko limbo, bunduki. Mamio niko na dado, dado is proud. Tumeskia eti zakayo, kalamu ilisha wino.
Nitawakumbusha, nitawakumbusha, nitawakumbusha jinsi ulikuwa. Nitawakumbusha, nitawakumbusha, nitawakumbusha kwangu wema kuwa. Nitawakumbusha, nitawakumbusha, nitawakumbusha jinsi ulikuwa.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Alrighty, good morning. Welcome back. You are still listening to the Power Morning Drive Show. My name is Wanyoike, and my guest is already in studio. Whoop, 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 whoop. It's a party. Amazing. It's a party. Good morning, Mr. Waithaka.
Good morning.
How are you?
Amazing.
Niko poa sana.
Amazing.
Yeah, tulishindwa but niko poa. Tulishindwa.
Nani alishindwa?
Unajua Ruto alisema ati nani Rao alishindwa because he was the best candidate. I was like, what is this?
Diplomatic language.
Diplomatic language.
For
What
you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Amazing.
How was your weekend?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What were you up to? Ama ulienda Addis Ababa?
I am an elder in my church.
Yes.
Yes. So it's always as early. My day, I think, on Sunday starts as early as 8.
Yeah.
And then I am leaving church as late as 9 p.m.
Okay.
So Sundays for me is just church.
It's church all the way.
Very important.
Ni vizuri kutumikia Bwana.
Commit yourself.
Oh, yes.
Wholly and fully.
Oh,
Amazing.
for sure. Awesome. Welcome to the Power Morning Drive Show. I think this is the first time we're seeing you here.
Exactly.
And
Thank
you know, there's something that happens here. Once we see you once, we will see you again and again.
Yeah. Give me a chair here.
Yes, you become
home.
family.
Amazing.
Right. For anybody who does not know who you are, kindly introduce yourself. Let them know who you are, what you are about, and all the things.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is David Waithaka. Waithaka David, as I always want to actually put it.
Yeah.
I work in the space of diplomacy, community engagement, youth engagement, and development. Now, this actually now means is I work to always connect international, global key players to come help fund and drive change at grassroots initiatives.
Right.
So what I do is over my career, over the past 3 years, I've been able to work with embassies, foreign ministries, foreign institutions that are in Kenya and abroad to come and run campaigns, to come and fund projects that are being actually now started in grassroots level.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've participated in drafting of policies at the UN, in the space of youth engagement.
It's
in the
a big
space
deal,
of
guys.
climate.
Big deal. You're a big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're just saying the UN or foreign ministry so casually, like it's one who just ran off the mill.
No, I think one of the biggest things that I've done
Yeah.
was last year being invited by the ministry of the foreign ministry of Czech Republic.
You went to the Czech Republic.
Yes, under the invitation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
We participated at so it was actually a round table conversation with the 3 heads of the chambers of deputy at the Czech Parliament, and it was us actually now bringing a very youthful perspective on matters of policy on how the European Union can actually now work in Africa in terms of climate, in terms of defense, and in terms of community building. Because the problem at this is how every European or global power actually now comes to Africa. They come with this mindset of we know better. We know how to come and we know how to act.
And we will get more into that conversation after at the top of the hour. But let's just get into what has been making news headlines. Thank you so much for coming. Right, and plastered all over our papers, our dailies this morning. Of course, it's the AUC chairmanship. It was a big loss for Kenya. What the Standard says, Ruto's blunders. The aftermath, President Ruto's diplomatic missteps on regional conflicts and global alliances may have cost Raila Odinga the AUC chairmanship. That's what the Standard says. And then, of course, on top of that, there's a story here about inside the Dusit D2 attack. 1 year in the making. Exclusive details emerge on the meticulous year-long planning of the Dusit D2 terror attack. It's a story there that continues on the national pages 2 and 3. I can also see that on page 10, they are talking about how scrapping of medical. Wow, medical. Ukamba sijui nimetoa wapi. But you know, I went to Daystar and it's huko Machako, so probably. How scrapping of medical cover hurts students, a story that goes on page 10. Then on the business page, CEOs reveal cure for ailing economy. Would be interesting to hear and read about that. M23 sees key city in eastern DRC. Continuous, conversations as to what is happening in the DRC. We will touch on that as well because this is something that you are well versed in. Then end of an era. Baringo Senators final chapter. Leaders yesterday mourned Baringo Senator William Cheptumo as a dedicated public servant who championed justice, devolution, and security. They honored his effort to end banditry and transform Baringo and Kenya. Right. And on the cover page of the Daily Nation, again, the story is big test for Ruto Raila handshake. Following the AUC chairmanship, whatever happened down there. Treasury releases counties list of shame. We'll also be talking about that. It goes on the page 15. Then there's a story here about government has borrowed 68.7 billion shillings in 4 months. What does this mean for the Kenyan taxpayer? All right. Just off the bat, right? The AUC chairmanship, a lot. It was quite the embattled seat, and of course people did see this coming. Raila's loss is not something that has shocked many people. And
people were actually praying for it.
Yeah, people were actually praying that he comes back home. So there's a couple of things, right? To discuss here. My first question to you would be, what do you think this implies for the local politics here, him coming back home?
So actually now taking a step back after the election, I think directly after 2022, the opposition led by Raila, Odinga and the sitting president, they actually now set up a commission. I think it was a NADCO commission. And they came up with a couple of ways to now bring peace. This was after the first Mandamano that was led by the former prime minister. This actually now led to the conversation of, as people say, you have to keep him busy so as to actually now contain everything. Him coming back now brings, there's now 3 ways to actually look at it. Number 1, he might come in and go in as the opposition. We've been lacking a credible voice in that sector. The second way is he might come and decide to actually just continue the merger, the handshake in quotes that he has with the president. And the third way is he might come and just decide to actually now endorse the now upcoming opposition. The former deputy president, his colleague for many years, Kalonzo. So there's actually now at a start point where he's coming tomorrow. So it's him now coming tomorrow and actually now giving a way forward on way to actually look at it. But in all ways, I think we are the opposition. We've always been.
Kenyans on
nothing to
Twitter,
actually
well, they
fear.
say that right now Kenyans on Twitter are the official opposition in Kenya. All right. So, and what do you think might have led to this, campaign for Raila to becoming the next AU chairman? What do you think are some of the factors that might have failed him?
Ooh, there's actually so many. I think, as always, with everything that has happened in Kenya, is at times you want to actually question and say, is it that they did not actually see that it was coming?
Yeah.
Or the advisors actually just feeding them on this beautiful utopia of you're going to win, it's only you. Because number one, how the biggest campaigner, Ruto, was actually, the president has actually taken on that this was actually at a very wrong way. When Ruto came in power, I remember the first time he gave a speech at the AU. He gave a very strong, powerful, it actually moved masses. The whole of Africa was like, yes, we've actually found a leader who's actually forward thinking. Because his speech at the time was, we as Africans need to handle our own issues internally.
Yeah.
A couple of years down the line, M23 take over Goma. The first thing the president he goes on Twitter and says, I've already hopped on a call with Macron. Very, very disregarding what's actually happening in the Sahel region in West Africa, with them trying to actually move away from France. And he said, I've also spoken with the Secretary of State of America.
Yeah.
Him actually just contradicting everything that he's been saying.
Right.
We need to be Pan-Africans, finding African solutions for African problems. But anytime anything erupts, instead of him saying, I've had a call with Kagame, I've had a call with anyone, he jumps on the other side. So this might have actually rubbed off with the whole of the Sahel region. Every country that's actually fighting to now move from neocolonialism, that's fighting to actually move from global power, having a hold of their nation. That had affected him.
Right.
Secondly is how he's actually, his stance on Gaza, Israel. Africa, I don't think there's a continent that has actually suffered colonialism to the extent and the level that Africa's actually suffered at. We've been disenfranchised, we've been hurt, we've been stolen, we've been privileged, all that. And with that, the moment the war erupted, the infighting, him standing up and saying, I stand with Israel, even through the fighting, us seeing 40,000 people dying, bombed, him coming back and taking back his sword and says, I support peace, he kept standing still on the question of him supporting Gaza. While at the same time, his counterparts at the AU even chased Israel out. I remember there's a time the former chairman, Musa Faki, told Israel participants during the AU to stand up and walk out in support of Palestine. This actually now showed how much he was actually willing to go in extent of supporting global power.
Right.
And this now showed a big disregard. So most African countries we are still fighting, we are still going through the same thing that Palestine is going through. And if you support them, it means that even in our soil, you still support that. So Ruto doing all that, and people seeing that he's pushing, he's making personal calls for Raila, a little bit rubbed off badly with people.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's a story here also on page 7 of the Daily Nation that is titled "How Ruto Baggage Sabotaged Raila Bid," and at a glance, a lawyer Uchami said that it's apparent that 3 EAC countries, that's Rwanda, Tanzania, and Burundi, may have turned against Kenya in the final 2 rounds after seeing the SADC, that's the South African Development Community, was voting. He argued that Ethiopia could not vote for Kenya for various reasons, including Prime Minister's Abiy Ahmed's displeasure with Nairobi for meddling in the Sudan crisis. In terms of trade, Ethiopia depends on Djibouti for over 80% of its imports and has lately had diplomatic problems with Somalia over Somaliland and Ruto's push for Somalia's entrance into the EAC. What do you make of all this?
It's crazy. Ruto, in all this, I think, he's always played both sides. That's how Kenya's diplomatic has actually been taken regionally. We're at a point whereby our foreign policy is looking a sham. Because number one, he goes to Sudan and he puts up a red carpet for RSF, for the rebel leader of Sudan, Hamiti. He opens up the country, gives him even a state invitation, and receives him publicly with the red carpet and all that. And that actually now brought a question. Because people are saying he's the one who's actually leading, together with now the Sudan armed forces. They are the ones who are actually leading the fight in Sudan. But he's actually leaning more to the side of the rebel. That now with everyone that's fighting to have peace, took that wrongly. The second one, Congo. Congo is actually a very big issue.
Right now, yes, it is.
It's crazy. And Ruto actually made very big missteps. The first thing he did was he hosted 2022. The current president made his bid for presidency at Nairobi, I think it was Sarova. I stand correct. Sarova Hotel, back in 2022. It's the same place that M23 came just recently, and they declared that they are ongoing with the invasion of Congo. This now tries to actually rub it off. This now brings on the question of, even after us having ESE, the protection forces that we had sent there, chased out, and Congo opting to go with SADC for their military expertise, shows that Kenya's touch in diplomatic relations and Kenya touch in being somebody who's able to actually deal with regional issues is wavering. And that now actually shows a very wanting picture to the other candidates.
I hear you. Anyway, all the best to Mahamoud Ali Yusuf. From Djibouti. Yes,
Please
and
make
the
Africa
outgoing Africa Union chairman was Musa Faki. He was from Chad. He had served as the prime minister as well as minister of foreign affairs. Right. So let's move on now to more local news. Growth spending. Treasury issues counties list of shame. We just saw last week there was a report done by Infotrack about best and worst performing governors. Yes, of course Muranga being the top one there with over 60% of operationalizing developmental projects. So kudos to Irungu Kangata, followed closely by Akina Gladys Wanga and Natembea from Uasin Gishu and all that. So now today we have a new list of top 10 counties that allocated more than 30% to development projects in 2023-2024. And then of course there's also the bottom 10 counties that allocated less than 30%. So it's a requirement from the National Treasury budget that you give 30%, at least 30% of your budget, not in spending, but in developmental projects, right? So the top 10 counties here are Marsabit comes in with 38.6%. So they were able to use 38.6% of their budget into development, followed closely by Narok at 34%. We also have Homa Bay at 33.3%, Mandera at 33.3%, so a little bit of a tie there. Siaya at 32.6%, Trans Nzoia at 31%. We also have Kitui at 30.8%, Kilifi at 30.6%. Ties with Turkana 30.6%, and lastly Wajir at 20. Is it Wajir or Wajir? I don't know. 29.4%. So these are the ones that are doing fantastic with their jobs and in terms of allocation. And then we have the bottom 10. Could you believe that Nairobi is among the bottom 10?
Not even surprised.
You're not surprised, eh?
Have you seen the streets?
I have seen the streets, yeah. So Nairobi bottom comes in at 10.3%. We also have Kisii coming at 13.7%, Mombasa 16.2%, Kisumu 17.5%, Taita Taveta, Kiambu, Kakamega, Vihiga, Nyamira, and lastly Nandi with 21.5%. So
unsurprisingly, if you actually look at the bottom 10, these are counties that actually considered as big hitters.
Big hitters. They are more developed and
more
then
forward moving. And then you see Turkana spending more.
these are very traditionally not developed counties,
Exactly.
like Wajir
Wouldn't
and
expect.
Turkana. You know, those counties where they, when they come to Nairobi, they say they are going to Kenya.
Yes.
And when you look at this, percentages, it's like it's
Baffling, always.
baffling. Yes, it's baffling. But of course, there's a couple of things here to consider. Of course, there's the population, for example.
Yes.
I know
Waithaka.
that Wajir is not as populated as Nairobi. Then my question then would also be, what are we terming as developmental? You know, like is building, for example, big buildings, Bunge Towers, we just saw a new building here.
Is
Is
many
that
billions?
what is, yeah?
How many billions?
Well,
is that?
we have quite a lot. So what are the growth matrix and what are the developmental matrix that we are looking at here? And what would then term as development and what would term as these are just your spending, but it is going into the developmental budget, Yeah, so, last week we have celebrating Valentine's, but before we give you your flowers, we'll give you flowers that have thorns because we have to, yes, kudos, but inject, because when you look at where we are at, there's definitely a lot of mismatches, yeah.
Big mismatch.
Well, you can't tell me that Nairobi has not developed as to the point that it has to develop, because even like the the budgetary allocations for Nairobi, for example, it's like 40 billion shillings.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I think that it's the epicenter of actually all this.
Yeah.
We have the UN.
We have
the
the
parliament.
United-
We have State House here.
Yeah, it's a
all
capital.
these
Yeah.
national buildings here that would actually even supplement in the budget that is there. And it's crazy that we are failing at this rate.
Yeah, it's quite interesting here. Right. Let's go to page 2 now of the Daily Nation. And the story here. Cheptumo, man who ended Moi hegemony in Baringo.
Big hitter.
Yeah?
He was a big hitter.
He was a big hitter, this one, yeah?
Yes.
All right. William Kipkoril Cheptumo, the senator who died on Saturday night, aged 57, will be remembered for driving the last nail in the coffin of former President Daniel Moi family's long-standing political hegemony in Baringo County. Fresh from 3 terms of as Baringo North MP, the man from the hills of Bartabwa handed the incumbent Gideon Moi a resounding political beating in the August 9, 2022 senatorial contest, almost doubling the latter's votes. The soft-spoken but no-nonsense political stalwart garnered 141,000 votes against Moi's 71,000. So may his soul rest in peace. Yes, as you can hear in that story, he really gave Moi some tough times, and Moi was also not very. He was a very tough cookie.
He was.
Yeah. So are we seeing a shift in how power dynamics and power play is done? Because people that would have the bravery and boldness to sort of challenge a regime as dictatorial as Moi's, that's something that's iconic.
Exactly.
That's iconic. Do you think we are somewhere close in this our current regime? I mean, given the fact that we've been seeing a lot of abductions and all this because of being critical of the government and yada yada. What do you?
I think in the study of society, first of all,
Yeah.
there's this analogy they use that tough times make strong men, now strong people, men and women, and now strong men and women make easy times, and easy times now make weak, strong men and weak men and women, and now they create tough times that create another just shift in its all dynamic.
Yes.
And I think that's where we are at. We had such men who were toughened by the things that were happening at the time, and they were able to actually face it head on. They faced consequences, and with that, they were able to bring now our new renaissance to how society was, to easier times, to good times.
Yeah.
And the men and women that picked up after that turned it into something else.
Yeah.
Because after Moi people had so much expectations. You had the Kibakis. The Kibakis came, and them knowing from where they came in 2 years they were able to just achieve so much. But people that picked up after that did not actually just go with the flow that was there. It was easy times for them. And now tough men and women, us now, seeing the Gen Z going out.
Me there.
We've been...
Why am I missing Gen Z?
No, the millennials, the Gen Zs, basically everyone of this generation, seeing with what the government has actually done, forcing every one of us to actually go out, demand more. You find that the government can actually just go out, there's abduction, there's bodies floating everywhere, but that doesn't faze you.
Hectic.
It makes you to even just go stronger and double down on your call for action. Shows something else, shows now a repeat in all this. So it's just us having weak politicians that just want to make us go get tough and just ask for more and demand for more. So that's how it's actually all playing out.
Right. Wow. All right. Let's I think this is a good place to take a quick breather, and then we come back and we conclude on the local and international news roundup. Keep it Power Radio.
Amazing.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? They say don't you rush it if you want it to last forever. For your love I'd wait till hell freezes over, and when it rains you can stay under my umbrella. We'll make it through the storm, it don't matter the weather. Baby, can't you see a future planned with me? Cause I do see one with you. So I'ma write this song to you. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? See, I love you cause I want to, I'm not forced to. I'ma treat you like a real man is supposed to do. Eventually, I'll get down on one knee and ask you if you wanna spend your life with me. Mware no komenya kwendete utuko na modenya. Somebody's daughter niye tunaota. My light in the darkness, baby, when in nyota. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, 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 where? Would you anywhere, 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 anywhere? Would you anywhere? Oh, let me say it, Pat.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
swag and I roll up and pass a lot. High up like astronauts, tell me girl where you from. See you could be from Mars, angels fall through the stars. You landed in my arms, now I got you in a trance. Okay, let's do this. Baby, step it like school kids. Blossom up like it's tulips, I'm really feeling your movement. I do this. Hard work is my excuse when we don't kick it like we used to. Lois Lane, I'll be your Superman. I'm cockier than Rooster. From another planet, she landed on my galaxy. Never saw it happening. Now there's no stopping me. Girl, you are a masterpiece. If opposites attracted, we make the perfect match and we are ready for action. Cameras are flashing as we walk past them. Swagging. It's magic how we manage. The path that I was handing been outstanding. Fantastic. She keep my game deep, Titanic.
Talking ish, boy, either do. I got my shawty with me, she looking hella sexy. So I ain't really fucking with y'all. Celibate, huh? Cause girl, you got me tripping. Really feeling your swagger, you so with it. Hey. Oh yeah, she bad. Got all these beanies mad. Talking about these fake hoes, you be killing. Okay, she swaggy. Got Louis V on her purse. That Fendi, Versace, she just can't get enough. I ain't talking J. Cole, but she heavy. Steady's how we kick it, J's roll, sipping Henny. And yeah, you need it, I got it. That Fendi purse, I bought it. You think these lame boys be affording that? I doubt it. So you just name a time and a place. All I wanna see is that smile on your face. Got a nigga saying.
In the past, so I'm taking the chance. And if I buy this girl a glass, pretty sure that I could last an hour or two when the vibe session is smooth. And before I sip up and move, I'll get her number, my dude. Please tell me, cause Jesus know I'm ready. So we've been working so heavy, they'll remember us for centuries. Allow it, not really trying to boast, but in designer there's no hope. The girl you find, here's a toast. Moving close, see I chose to be patient, so I'm waiting. Chucking up a deuce to the fools I know be faking. They say that was tripping when I told them she was different. Doesn't matter, didn't listen, they just hating. Hey, these beats keep opening up my mind, and I'm so focused on the grind, so I'm just hoping that you'll find sunshine for the 100,000th time. No, I'm
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That is CAMP to the Mula Bazooka. Oh my God, Camp Mula. You might have been a little bit young when Camp Mula just came out, but I don't know whether you remember them.
I'm actually think the same age as them.
No. You are way younger. You are way younger. Wewe ni Gen Z. Akina Mula team are millennials. They are in their 29s. Yeah.
29 is still a Gen Z.
No.
1995.
Wewe. Gen Z wanaanzia 97.
97?
Yeah, but 94 to 96, there's called zillennials. They are called zillennials, and I am part of them.
You have to pick one.
No, they are called literally because there are people who exhibit both millennial tendencies and Gen Z tendencies. So that's why they came up with it. Yeah, I'm a zillennial. Okay. Proudly. Mkosa kabila. The song is Where Are You From? Where are you from?
Kenya. The heart of all this craziness. But yes, if you speak spiritually, I have a home.
You have a home. Heaven.
Yeah, I was bought at a price. If we talk about all these other things.
Yes. Where are you from? I think it's a great conversation starter.
Okay,
No,
yes.
you know what actually would be a more greater conversation starter?
Yes.
What are you from?
What are you from?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whenever I go into new spaces, I ask people, what are you from?
Yeah.
What have you been through?
Or you sit them down and you're
they
like,
just go on and then go on and go on. And
Crazy.
that's how I find out about Sijui, the pet that you lost at 5 years old and yada yada. So it's a great conversation starter. And you know what? And again, is a great conversation starter.
what?
Our conversation that you're about to begin.
Amazing.
You know, you
Yes.
as a diplomat in training,
Yes.
there's a lot of things that we need to talk about today. And yes, you are tuning to Power Morning Drive Show. This is a Power Morning Drive Show. My name is Wanyoike. I'm still here in studio with my guest. He is a cultural diplomacy expert.
Yes.
And other things that
Other things,
we
other
will
many
get
things,
to know.
depending with the
Yeah,
stress, yes.
Depending on who is asking.
Yes.
Depending on who is asking. David Waithaka, DW. And Doshewele.
Yeah.
And so today we shall be talking about youth participation or inclusion in diplomacy and policy. And you'll get to know as to the reason as to why David is the right person for this conversation. Right, but so maybe you can set the scene for us, for somebody who might not understand. You know, there's a lot of very technical terms that go in and around diplomacy. So let's start with what is foreign policy. What does that mean when
Exactly.
we hear
So-
foreign policy? What does it mean?
So foreign policy is basically, in simple terms,
Yeah.
is a structure.
Yeah.
Is a written structure that we have put up as a country on how to relate with other countries. This is how, if we receive a diplomat or
Yeah.
if we send out a diplomat, this is a process that they have to follow.
Yeah.
This is if we actually now talking about trade relations,
Yeah.
economic relations between us and another country, this is how we pursue it. This is how we, for example, America first, make America great again. That's now America's policy. Everything they want to actually now pursue from now is they want America
To be-
benefiting.
Or somebody said
what?
make America great again is just a diplomatic way of saying make America white again.
There's a long conversation around that,
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
it's the same as Vision 2030. That's now Kenya's policy, which we are terribly failing at.
Oh,
But
terribly. We are 5 away. We are 5 years away from 2030. Do you
Kibaki
know?
is standing in his grave.
Yeah, I know. I
He's
know.
I spent countless nights working on that policy.
And money has been spent.
And money.
Also.
Crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, taking now from the conversation of the policy,
Yeah.
In 2030, there's a chest. I was told this by a friend who works at the museum. There's a chest whereby the ones who actually now drafting up the Vision 2030 put it up in a chest. They locked it and it's placed at the Kenyan Museum. And there'll be a big celebration in 2030 to groundbreak and open it and to see how we've actually achieved, which I'm sure we haven't achieved much.
We've not even I don't even think we've scratched the surface.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now what they will actually open, that as a policy now detects on the systems and structures that we should follow when actually now putting a base of operation on things. For example, in education, the policy on education that might be found there is we need, number one, to have this percentage of girls, because I'm sure at the time there was a problem about people not, lack of girls not being included or being taken to schools. So this is the amount that we want to achieve by 2030 to be in school. This is the amount of schools and basically the CBC right now. That's a policy on how we should actually engage in education as a nation. So policy is basically a system and a structure to now give guidelines on how to operate and next one.
Right, cool. And so I mean, we've just read here and discussed about, you know, the one of the reasons as to why Raila might have not gotten the AUC chairman is because of the perception and the public image of Kenya's, you know, diplomatic ties. So could you reel us into the tables and the discussions that you have countless times when you go, for example, you did mention that you've been to the Czech Republic.
Yes.
What is the perception diplomatically of Africa in these rooms What are they? What are they thinking about Africa?
I think the most powerful idea is Africans. We have a vote at as long as you are a member of the United Nations, you have a vote at the UN. So UN is where it's all basically birthed at. So number one is Africa is seen mostly as a very excited young child. They're rising in the ranks at his 17s, 18s, very excited, rising out there, strong, pushing, going into these spaces and pushing. But the only thing about this excited child is they have something to actually bargain with, but they are not actually going in the direction of bargaining with it. We have a very regionally, we are the most richest. We have mines, we have golds, we have all these things. If you look at numbers, we have one of the most rising numbers of young people. But when we go to such decision-making tables, if it's a decision we want to make between any African country, Kenya and US, we want to agree on something. Number one is, what is your bargaining power? The US has a bargaining power. They have enough funds to they can spend $1 billion without even thinking. $1 billion, just write a few, pass it in Senate, and then $1 billion will be sent here. What does Kenya have that US doesn't
What
want?
are we offering?
It's basically us convincing them that if you get to number one, do this for us, this is what we can actually give you in returns. And it's a very daunting task. I remember being at the UN during the UNEA 6 at the United Nations Environmental Assembly. Its country now saying, we actually suffer more as Africa. We produce 4% of carbon. Our carbon footprint is actually less compared to the global north, but we want the global north to pay us in trillions.
And the the audacity of Donald Trump to even withdraw from the Paris Agreement, yet they are the biggest emitters of carbon. They are drilling.
Crazy.
They are. Yes.
So when that happens,
so it's a negotiation.
It's a
table
negotiation that actually
breach.
goes
That's,
for all the way to the night. Because what works is, I remember the last time we were there was a conversation between Africa now trying to push a policy for the global north to pay an extra couple of billions.
We can't pay. What do you mean?
It's like, what happens is, Germany might come up and say, so Germany is actually one of the second largest dumping. They've turned Brazil, I think Brazil into a dumping site. They sent tons, I think 500 million tons of everything from their countries
and
right
dumped it there.
So when such a country like Brazil comes forward and says, we need compensation for this dump that you've been sending here, Germany now has to be convinced enough that us taking out of our budget, not sending it in road, not sending it into healthcare, and giving you a couple of maybe $500 million is to our benefit. And times countries have to put their interests first and say, this doesn't work for us. And it's you as a country putting the best negotiators in the room. Negotiators who are hard-hitting, negotiators who would go all night just trying to convince them. And it's hard, trying to convince a country that you have to release this amount. And the problem is, at times they even consider and say, we will give you 1 million USD. But the releasing, before they release it, it will drag on for years. We had that at the African Climate Summit that happened a few years back. A few countries came and said, we pledge to give this and this and this. And 3 years later, nothing has been seen. So it extends even beyond the boardroom.
Is our foreign policy working? Because, and not just as Kenya, but even as African countries, because I think we are being we are being undersold. There's an underselling there that I'm picking up. And even when our leaders make into this room, it's usually mostly about their protecting their own interests, and it's not about, because if we are to be honest, Pan-Africanist foreign policy, if the Masankara was the one who is in those rooms right now, I don't think we would be even talking about developmental speak as we are doing it right now. So how is our foreign policy set up?
Our foreign policy, number one, I think Kenya, the President Ruto, since taking the helm, has been pushing strongly on the climate diplomacy space. Is we had the African Climate Summit, it's been pushing powerfully. Before the AU race, I remember talking with colleagues, former diplomats, and they always said Africa, Kenya number one is seen regionally as a force in matters of military. I think we actually had bases in 44 countries as peace. We had Africans, Kenyans in all these spaces, together with the UN peacekeeping missions. In peacekeeping missions, we have trainings in France, sending our soldiers there to go be trained. So regionally and globally, Kenya was always seen as a very serious contender for matters of peace and security. We were actually now regarded highly. Haiti, let's take Haiti as a case example. So Haiti internally is one of the is a very doesn't make sense. Is a case that doesn't make sense internally. I wouldn't support it internally, but looking at it at a global perspective, it came at the right time. Right now, there's discussions in the UN in creating a permanent African seat, giving I think 3 African seats permanent veto power to actually vote in the Security Council. Kenya pushing all through, and Kenya now stationed in Haiti gives us a leverage when it comes to us now contending to actually have the seat.
But that's even one of my problems. Like, why do we have, it's like begging to be recognized, yet we are part of this ecosystem called the global sphere.
When UN was created, no African was there at the table when they were actually splitting.
And this is how many years down the line?
More than 76. 76, 78.
So it's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem there.
And it was still seeing that the countries that actually now came to form the UN were actually all these global powers, the Japanese, the Americans, saying, let us bring a global peace. But what
we are not asking to be part of something that we don't.
Exactly.
We don't belong in. It's a demand that is long overdue.
But we belong in it because
we do.
In all these fights and wars during World War I and World War II, African soldiers,
they were sent.
They were powerfully used as carriers, as shields and all this.
Yeah.
And there's a mismatch in how we actually just perceived.
Yes.
We are powerful, we are smart, but when it gets to the room, I think it's either the people that we send in concede too early. They say, you're asking for 10, but we can only give you 2. Like the most we can do is 2. And it's not that they're not able to give us 10. It's just that they see we are not able for it, or that's what we're actually able to get.
Wow.
But if you, as you said, Thomas Sankara, it was able, Patrice Lumumba, it was able to actually be in the room. The Gaddafis, it would have been a different issue.
Yeah.
But we're actually seeing a shift. Burkina Faso. Traore, who is doing some other different things out there.
Yeah.
He pulled out of the African Union. He said that he paid these countries debt in full. Right now, he said that the country is actually mining its own minerals and they're making use of that.
I love that.
And if you actually see, he's coming at this Pan-African value system.
Yeah.
Because America...
He is Sankara reincarnated.
It's a different story. America has a value basis of how they follow when it comes to diplomacy. European has a European-based value when it comes to diplomacy. They are different from each other. Now the problem of us is when we look west, it's us marrying ourselves with the values of America.
The West.
When you look east,
it's
the same.
Same.
So the problem is we do not have one voice to actually go through with it, which now brings a problem on how we actually looked at globally.
Wow. And I think cultural diplomacy would be something that, you are a cultural diplomat or you are an expert. As you said, what is cultural diplomacy, and can it be used to at least help in the perception breaches for Africa?
True, powerfully, yes, it can. What most people do not actually understand is culture is actually one of the biggest identifier for you as a person. And I think culture is one of our biggest identity, which was privileged, which was during colonialism was attacked, was destroyed in all its essence. Our heritage, our indigenous knowledge, our indigenous knowledge, our culture was actually attacked by colonialism in all of this. And if you see to all these other countries, they all have their own culture that they actually uphold to. You have UK with this 100 years of monarchy, they still follow a pattern of culture that they've had. What cultural diplomacy actually stands at is you go and interact with other countries and interact with their cultures with the basis of an open mind. You're like, we respect what you do as a country, you respect ours. We come and we have a mismatch, we have an understanding how to operate. When we get to go to, for example, the chambers of deputies, we were actually talking about how if you're trying, the European comes and wants to give aid, they come on the idea of, let us come, let us build this, because in our country we have, I don't know, we have trains in the middle of the road. They think that's the same policy that will work here. It doesn't work. What has to actually be done is, if you want anything to work in Africa, or in any part of Africa, is you have number one first to come and involve the people. So cultural diplomacy is the aspect of me saying, you want to run this program, I'll be able to connect you to the community. And the community will actually give you ways that they can actually run this. Give the community full autonomy, give them full ownership, give them full power to actually decide on the direction of the project they want. And this now brings a shift on now having more impact, having more sustainability, having more success in what is being done.
All right. If you were just joining us, welcome to the Power Morning Drive Show. This is Power Radio. My name is Wanyoike. We are here in studio with David Waithaka, and we are unpacking what foreign policy is, what diplomacy is, and more specifically, we want to zero into the role of young people in diplomatic relations, and to be able to understand that we were doing just a basis of setting the stage and understanding what exactly the world of diplomacy is all about. Let's take a quick breather. When we come back now, we actually get into the meats and the bones of the conversation. What is the role of young people in foreign policy, diplomacy, international relations, and how can we move from tokenized participation and into actual decision making, both because we've seen it. I mean, I see that the Africa Union has a whole youth. I think she's the youth chair. She's called Chido.
Yes.
We also have the
recently created.
Just recently created. I think she was succeeded by what's her name?
I know her.
Aya Shebi, yes, Aya Shebi. I think she's Tunisian, and she's been doing an incredible work around the continent and stuff. So, let's come back and talk about those kind of conversations. This is Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
It's so hard to leave. Sing me a song when I am gone from you. It's so hard to leave. Sing me a song when I am gone from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you, far from you. When all the lights fade and there's nowhere in the world to go, I know I would rather stay, but then again I'm unsure. Simpler times I've all but faded, but I can't stay all the same. Simpler times I've all but faded, but I can't stay all the same. Mama's wailing, Mongo's wailing from home. Mama's wailing, don't go away 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 from me. Mama's mama's waiting. Don't go away from me. Mama's waiting. Begging you to stay. The class gathered by the road. Nowhere in the world's the same. You're better off staying home. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same. From you, it's so hard to leave. Sing me a song when I am gone from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you, far from you.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
California, vitu nzuri, tunaendelea mbele. Hakuna cha huzuni hapa, furani tele. Kwa wale wamesahau mziki yangu bado ni genge. Kwa wale wanatudharau tafadhali msifanye nicheke. Sitadanganya jamani, merudi studio leo na nasikia poa. Na najua mnapenda kusikia sauti yangu, kwa hivyo ngoma poa tu ndo tazidi kutoa. Unatulia nini bana, amka tuzitoke. Unapanguza nini bana, wacha jasho imwagike kote. Ataka kuna ukame tunajituliza na maji baridi. Klemo raundi ameniambia nokute na ngoma mbili mbili. Moral, wacha iwabambe. Na mjipandishe juu ka bendera na mwimbe ngoma ka national anthem.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako. Ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako. Ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka.
Anacho watu wengi sana wakule roundini ya niachieni pia mi ninone. Safari yangu ngepeleka mbio, lakini mama kwenda pole pole. Usifikire nimechoka, niko na nguvu kazi ile ngombe nyona mtaani. Sitachoka kutafuta majani, sitachoka kuendelea na safari. Wacha mguu zangu zitembee, wasanii wote wa nguvu wa pepe. Kimaisha na kila kitu anafanya ni bidii, na utafika pale unataka. Hata nikigonga so bado mziki zangu sitaacha kusambaza. Nimeamka chali yangu na sioni tena chalala. Weka mattress kando, tunaenda kazi. Weka stress kando, mambo ikuwe safi. Moral watu wang'are, moral watu watambe. Na mjipandishe juu ka bendera, na mwimbe ngoma ka national anthem.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka.
Bidii yangu imelazimisha watu wengi sana waruke. Asali bado nawapatia, tiongeza sukari utamu isishuke. Nikipanda tafana vile roho yangu inataka. Sitapotea tena hata nikiona wengine wakitukata. Pilipili ni aje, sikuje nisaidie kwa kamata. Lakini sijui itakuaje tukiwa roga sana. Sijui atajisaidiaje tukiwa bonda sana. Tuwafundisha kupumzisha nyundo na bado weze kuflex mkono vizuri. Kuingia gym, kupanua kifua kiasi na kupumua vizuri.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
This is Hendrix Sound.
Misikatai, unanidai, akiwalahi, ninaogopa sitadinai. I want you to lie, ni vile I'm trying to find good love, baby, baby. I'll be the one for you. Mpenzi utangoja, yeah. Mpenzi utangoja, yeah, yeah. Sitaki we uchoke, yeah. Sitaki we uchoke, yeah. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. If you wait for me, I don't need nobody else. I'm trying to find good love, baby, maybe, and I'll be the one for you.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
All right, welcome back. That is One For You by the phenomenal David Waithaka. Thinks that she's a national treasure, and I agree.
She's fine.
Phenomenal fee. And it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. I'm Wanyoike, I'm your host, and I'm here alongside my guest, David Waithaka. We have been talking about the inclusion of young people in foreign policy and diplomacy. And yes, so let's continue with our discussion. So I want to ask,
yes,
like, for example, the Africa Union, yeah, we do have an agenda 2063. Yes. And, those, of course, there's a big information gap.
Yes.
I know that not a lot of people know about the existence of this document.
Surprisingly.
Which is supposed to be the roadmap for what Africa should look like, up until 2063. It was instituted in January of 2015.
Yes, that's first.
Could you kindly let us know what exactly the Agenda 2063 is all about, and take stock for us? How far have we come? What are the gains? What are the pains?
So surprisingly, Agenda 2063 is more than a decade old.
Yeah.
2015,
2025. 10 years in.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
And I remember yesterday and last year, December, was the first time I had a colleague of mine hear about it. I was like, but I've seen this thing, Agenda 2063, on a poster on the AU website. What's that? And I was like, I've never heard of it. And I think mine is, I know it, I've read through the document, I've had consultations through it, because I've been in such a space whereby that's a common narrative, a common discussion around it. But knowledge gap you've just mentioned is surprisingly not there.
Yes.
So basically, Agenda 2063 is basically a framework created, a policy framework created on how Africa should move on as a continent, and each nation, what we need to achieve in matters of education, the percentage we need to hit, in matters of agriculture, food production, poverty, the inclusion of youth.
Yes.
Also, we have now the respect of culture, how to build on our culture, heritage, and indigenous knowledge as a continent. And surprisingly, mentioning now on the youth involvement, not enough youth are involved, seeing that the agenda is set to be achieved by 2063. If, let's say if I was born in the year 2000, it means by 2063, I'll be 63 years old. Most of the nations that actually led in the creation of this will not even get to see 2050. If Raila himself was to have taken the AU mantle, he's now 80, meaning 20 years from now, 2045, you would have been 100.
Yeah.
So you would have been 100, going to two terms, you would have been 100 in 2045, at the helm of the highest institution in Africa, talking about achieving the agenda in 2063, which was a big mismatch in how we as young people are there. But powerfully, the agenda just speaks about how we can build self-reliance, how to build ourselves, how to hold our leaders accountable, and how to grow from just a very aid-dependent continent and nation to a very forward-thinking and very fully sustainable nation.
Right.
Yes.
So then what now would practically be the role of young people in promoting diplomatic relations, and not just from a talk, they like tokenizing young people. They're just put them there as flower girls and flower boys for the photo ops, for they are only to be seen and not to be heard. How do we move away from this token approach and actually meaningfully create spaces for the engagement of young people in international relations?
Number one, I always say, the same way African Union has a seat for, they have ministerial consultative meeting, I think each nation that has a seat at the African Union should also create a youth seat. Not just a youth seat, because at times they tend to put we're used to that. They get to now decide who sits there, but very intentionally and very in a forward-thinking way, bring young people at the helm of this. Number one, youth are everything.
Yes.
We are, by 2030, will be 75%
right.
of the under 35 people will be 75% of the whole population of Africa.
Yeah.
Meaning 2063 is our agenda, our agenda for the continent. Number one, we should be capacity build. We should be basically informed enough, number one, to try and act in bridging the knowledge gap.
Yeah, because there's a lot of gatekeeping with these things.
There's a lot of gatekeeping with these things. Number two, such consultative meetings, the opening of the forums and all that should be opened to everyone, to young people, all of us to be able to just access Addis Ababa. At times there's a desire to be there physically, even though we can actually do it online. They need to actually open portals for youth inclusion, youth participation and all that. Another thing is, seeing that the agenda is made on matters of accountability, we should be able to now have a way to hold our leaders accountable. Not hold our leaders accountable and then disappear for all month and find yourself sorting elsewhere. It's that leaders should actually listen to a voice. When you hold them accountable, when you call them out and all these things, there's a lot for youth to do. Even us starting our own organization, setting up meetings and creating our own basically round tables to lead such conversations. It's very important and needed for that.
Yeah. And so we did talk a little bit about, some of the approaches for diplomacy, being things like Pan-Africanism, and all those things. So what are some of the other best practices that we can use as Africans to ensure that there is better negotiation at the negotiating table for us?
I think number one is, I think it's always, there's this story always told of when a kid wants to start something, the first thing the parent asks is, what do you have? Instead of you now thinking about what don't you have, the first question each country should ask themselves is, what do we have? Let us take stock of what we have. Number one, let us know what is of value to us, because that's what we actually keep focusing at. And the next time we actually get to be able to sit at the table, number one, we should understand that youth, the human, basically, we have a very rich human capacity as Africans. We have a very smart, educated, young people population that can also be used at the table. And the next thing is our accountability, our vividness, and our consciousness as a nation. When you go there, will I be told that I cannot deliver that to you to your nation, but I can deliver that to you as a person? Do our leaders get greedy in there? They get there and they're like, oh, you know what? I have a farm that I bought there for 100 million. Do you want that? And then you can just get this off the table, and then the country won't get anything, but you get that. So that's getting to a point whereby we have value-based approach, whereby we hold on the values. We get to now, as leaders, say that we are willing to compromise. If it doesn't benefit us, we are willing to walk away from the table until they get to now understand that this is where we want to achieve, this is what we want to achieve, and these are the values that we do not compromise. So always compromise on everything, but not the values. So that's what key, basically, in everything, I believe.
And what do you foresee being the big trends of maybe the next 5 years in the world of diplomacy?
So we actually at a point whereby many democracies of many nations are at a very shaky point.
Okay.
We have the coups in the Sahel regions ongoing. We have DRC happening. There's the situation between DRC and Rwanda. If that is not sorted, something might erupt out from that. There's also now the issue of internationally and globally with the funding exit. So it's now, there will be now a need for countries to just see internally. Some countries will see internally, other countries will decide to do whatever is happening in Europe. Why don't we just decide to take the territory of our next neighbor? We find that more countries will actually come up. Somaliland is going to actually be credited as a nation.
Is it not?
Trump mentioned that it's a lot because Somali doesn't want to acknowledge Somaliland, and then Ethiopia. There's a little bit of geopolitics happening in that side.
Got it.
But what I'm actually very excited in is that there's going to be a rise in young people being involved. This has actually gotten to a point whereby we are tired and we get to see that this is our future being played with, and we're like, I will find a way to force myself into this consultation, these rooms, and demand for my country, for my generation, for better, for growth. And there's just going to be a big shift in how we are actually going to now lead such discussions.
Right.
There's a boardroom discussion is not going to work anymore.
No.
People will want accountability and people will want publicly to see it when it happens, not a closed rooms kind of format that has been ongoing for years.
That's right. I think also a big one is digital diplomacy.
Ooh, powerful.
How impactful is digital diplomacy, and how do you have case studies where this has worked in some countries? Yeah.
So there's a
is it, I mean, we all sort of have phones, a lot of
exactly.
us, not all, but most people, not most people, let me say we have a good number of people that have
so we actually
access.
have 56 million phones
Yes,
in Kenya,
in
more
Kenya.
than our population.
There you go.
So access to internet now is the other thing.
So in terms of leveraging on digital diplomacy, do you see that there's an impact there? Where do we stand?
Powerful impact. Number one, the foreign ministry, Musalia Mudavadi a while back gave out a public memo saying how the diplomatic relations of Kenya has actually taken a hit because he said that there's a actually choreographed cyber attack by some key players who are just writing to other foreign countries on not to engage with Kenya. That has a big blow. It takes a big blow to Kenya. Number one, let's take the EU case. There's so many, I was listening to this policy expert who was saying that no matter how hard Kenya will try to not see at that, as the young people of Kenya who wrote to all these other foreign ministers of African nations telling them do not vote for Raila, most of them see that no matter there is a study that's going to be done on that, but people say that might have brought a change to some, even if it's one nation deciding not to vote in that direction. Something happened. There's a Dutch king, I think it's the Dutch of Belgium, I'll have to confirm, who's coming to March.
Right.
He has a scheduled visit in Kenya, March 18th to March 20th. The foreign ministry of the country actually admitted that they received more than 300 emails telling them that the king should cancel his visit until the president owns up to whatever's been happening in Kenya, the abduction and all that. And when that happens, it puts pressure. Digital diplomacy works because, number one, the only way I get to know you as a person, even before getting you, is I get to Google you. If I Google you, I go to your socials, and the first 20 comments are people saying, oh, I do not like the way you talked to me last night when I was in church. Or I do not like how you handle people at work. And the first 20 comments are just people negatively speaking about you. It will put me off not to interact. So that's the same way as nations.
Yes.
If an investor had an opportunity of just going and seeing the profile of the nation and seeing how they kind of like the conveying of the message that has been publicly put out there, they'll be a little bit surprised and a little bit not interested in wanting to pursue an investment opportunity here. So how to actually address is just, number one, the government should own up in everything it's doing. It should find a way as soon as possible on involving the young people on board. Digital diplomacy works, it's powerful, and it's going to work massively. And there's last year, we had countries in East Asia that whereby a president won, whereby a TikTok star, I'll have to find the country with the name, a TikTok star stood up as a president and they won. They took massive votes. So 2027, social media, TikTok, all that is going to actually determine big, massive steps that are going to be taken. Yes.
All right. Let's take a quick breather where when we come back, we just conclude on our discussion. We have been talking to David Waithaka. He's a cultural diplomacy expert, and we have been unpacking, the role of young people being included in the negotiation tables and what kind of approaches can we use as young Africans to ensure that we are negotiating better for our continent. Let's see you on the other side of the break. Do not move a muscle. We'll be right back.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Nimekuchagua wewe spend our lifetime together and a couple more forevers and never. Imekuja kuwa wewe na sitaki mwingine. Mbele ya watu wote tumekubaliana tutasimama kwa mapenzi. From this day forward, I promise I'll give you all I have to give and all I require. I promise you're everything. Umenikubali mimi nilivyo, nami nikakuonyesha mapenzi ya kweli. The road ahead may be long, by my side is where you belong. Just promise me that we will share many days of laughter, a loving home, a happy ever after. Because I do. Nimekuja kuwa wewe na sitaki mwingine. Mbele ya watu wote tumekubaliana tutasimama kwa mapenzi. From this day forward, I promise I'll give you all I have to give and all I require. I promise you're everything. Nimekuja kuwa wewe na sitaki mwingine. Nimekuja kuwa wewe na sitaki mwingine.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Soul Generation, this is another one. Yeah, hey lovely, umekuja na nani? Juu nimenoki vile unacheka so bubbly. Nipe mechi hata tupige ka friendly. One time nikuonyeshe mapenzi, but your auntie hapendi wanati. Kwanza kiniona anaonanga bangi, hata baba yako amenishika mashati. Ila naomba wewe unipe nafasi. Yeah, the good times are calling. Why you ignoring? Don't say you're boring, and my heart is ready for you. The fun times are calling. I should be loving you. If I had to, I'm sorry, but tonight I came here for you. And I'm at your doorstep. Niko mavela na zimenishoni wewe. Nitapisha hadi babako watoke. Jusitoki hapa mpaka we utoke. At your doorstep. Niko vela na zimenishoni wewe. Nitapisha hadi babako watoke. Jusitoki hapa mpaka we utoke.
Jackie. Twende nashika pen na pepa na siko ketepa si ni kuzitoka ni katukomboka. Mipenda kama whisky wengine mavodka. Kuna wasopenda miti wengine mogoka na si majabu kiregezo na tokwa. Tusupa leo ni twingi koko chini unakopa. Look safi ni kari mekuja na chopa. Miokata na mabanga round ingine na shoka. Cheki rata safi kwanza nikiwa na Nike aka ni Jose Merindo kwa gami wifi. Yendo manzu nifanye vitu staki shaji report kwa kilisha jishtaki. Nataki ya kumshikia kwa maji ka samaki. Nipunguze wasiwasi ibaki. Niache kuna nukia na nanasi. Ama nina nami nikulisha nanasi.
I'm at your doorstep. Niko mavela na zimenishoni wewe. Nitapisha hadi baba kwa watoke. Jisitoki hapa mpaka we utoke. At your doorstep. Niko vela na zimenishoni wewe. Nitapisha hadi baba kwa watoke. Jisitoki hapa mpaka we utoke.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That is Doorstep. And yeah, it's a song that has been delivered to you on your doorstep, courtesy of Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. We are now coming to conclude our discussion from this morning. We've been talking about the role of young people in diplomacy and international relations with cultural diplomacy expert Mr. David Waithaka himself. So as we conclude our discussion today, who are some of the notable young people that are making the impact and making the rounds, in terms of promoting diplomats that you would like to put us on?
I think there's a couple of many amazing young people.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they're not just, the spotlight is not on them.
So you're blaming the media, number
Not
one.
really the media.
We take the accountability.
Not really the media. It's
Call us
a
out.
whole other thing.
Yeah.
Number one, it's at times not even about them being out there in terms of their image and all that. Time even they do not get financial support or that support because policy in some countries you find that people can actually pursue policy as a career fully for years. If you try to do that here in Kenya, I know people that after 2 years it becomes burdening. I know I've done it for like 3 years, 4 years now. If you pursue policy and diplomacy relationship all in the aspect of you pushing for changes in all these spaces, at times there's that toll it takes on you.
Yeah.
But I know some amazing people. There's Anita Soina. She works powerfully in space of climate. She's been to the COP.
Yeah.
She's working with international organizations. She's gone to the US, had a meeting at the she had a meeting during Biden's time at the White House.
Yeah.
She's been, I think, right now, she came from Nigeria.
Okay.
She's working on a Africa Youth trip project on how we can actually make sure that youth are traveling through the continent to boost our morale about the power and the beauty of this continent.
And knowledge exchange.
And knowledge, exactly, powerfully.
Yeah.
I have a colleague, Nira Ismail.
Yeah.
She's actually a refugee at Kakuma. She's amazing. She's working in the space of actually pushing for migration policies. How do we as nations, how do we as continents actually work to involve young people in coming up with policies around refugees? Because the truth is, if you actually look at the amount of refugees and the numbers of refugees in percentage, most of them are young people. There's me, I know of a brother, Jeff Kiplimo. He's powerfully working on policy. Personally, the guy is actually crazy. So every time there's actually a policy that the Kenyan government gives out, he goes, studies it, writes his recommendation on a paper, prints it, and then takes it to Kenyan parliament, takes it to the clerk, and he's like, this is my recommendation for this policy that is supposed to go forward, gives it there. And so many other people who are actually pushing it. And the beauty of that is also the platforms. I know friends who work at the Kimun, Kenya Model United Nations. They are creating simulations of how UN works, pushing through that. There's digital diplomacy. There's so many people who try to actually give a way of approach of how governance should actually be taken, leadership should actually be taken. So it's powerful at that. There's a lot of young, beautiful people doing amazing work.
So how do young people plug in now?
Plugging in. Number one, find the space.
Okay.
Plug into a community. Kenya Model, the Model United Nations offers such simulations because they introduce you to the structures of such things. The other thing is UN at times, the Gigiri office, they have, I think, not less than 3,000 conferences and events happening yearly. People can go to their websites, try to see how to plug in, because some of them do not actually need much. You just need to give your name and then get the invitation to go there. The other thing is we are creating their networks online, community networks. We are now in a very digital world. Community networks online that actually want to invite young people to come help get training on policy. I am starting something whereby me and a couple of colleagues of mine who've been doing this, trying to see how to empower youth in the line of diplomacy, in building conversation around policy, in how to interact with more higher level up systems. So there's so many systems, but majorly in your universities, you could start with if you're doing IR or any other course, you do not have to actually do IR. I never did IR myself. You could plug into a community in your institution, in your area. And also there's a Kenya Youth Parliamentary stuff. You could go then get a way to join that. So there's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
All right, your parting shot as we conclude.
We are the solution. We are enough. I always say young people, we are enough.
Okay.
We are powerful. We are basically everything that is needed to actually solve every issues in the continent. And it's basically us believing it, knowing it, and taking it up in action. And whatever is happening right now, we should always speak truth to power. With every young person out there, whatever is happening internally, globally, never assume or never be ignorant to the suffering of other people. Whatever is happening in Palestine, whatever is happening in Congo, Sudan, they are all our people connected in one way or the other. We should actually always be strong in our pursuit of just justice and accountability.
Right. See you in Czech Republic soon? Yeah.
Soon. Yeah. No, they should see me here in Kenya. They should
They
come
should
here
see
now.
you. Now they
Next
should come
time they'll now have to make the trip.
Yeah,
Come
but
and
you,
see
you've
us.
gone. Me, I've not gone. Me, I still
we'll
want
go
to
there.
go. Me, I'm
This
going.
year we are going with you.
We will go.
Tagging
Studio.
you along.
Awesome.
Sure.
All right, thank you so much for coming on.
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
And dropping the gems I've learned myself.
Powerful.
Yes, and I hopefully might even start considering a career
You should
change.
do. You have an amazing voice. Power to push through policies.
Yes,
You should. Yes,
sawa. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you for
And I know
It's
we
amazing.
will see you soon again.
Always.
Yeah,
This is
you,
all.
your family. Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for everybody who was able to tune into the Power Morning Drive. Thank you for tuning in and for engaging us also. To every person that has commented, liked, shared, we do not take it for granted. Thank you so much for doing that. As I leave you in the very safe and capable hands of Miss Murote. She comes in at 11 a.m. with Shiversations. Then later on, join Mr. or the advocate of the High Court of Kenya, Sharia Dive himself, the host with the most, James Wanyoike, for all things legal awareness and constitutionalism. Yes, but before I let you go, if it's Monday, you definitely know that I have to plug you to the biggest plot. And I keep saying, if it does not happen at Fitness in the Word in Nairobi Cinema from 5 p.m., whatever you did, it probably did not count and it probably never happened. So I welcome you to come and worship and fellowship with us at Nairobi Cinema. Today, it happens every Monday from 5 p.m. at Nairobi Cinema. Entry is absolutely free. The vibes are immaculate and absolutely free as well. Come and let's get blessed together. Waithaka is also coming.
I'm there.
Imagine you're the only one who is not gonna be there.
You're
So
only one
see you
missing.
tonight at Nairobi Cinema and goodbye. See you on Wednesday.
Bye.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
It was a dream, holding you in my arms, that I can't believe, 'cause now you're holding my heart, and now you're standing here with me. Usiende mbali nami. Nikiwa na wewe mi sitaki mingine. Nipe mkono nikupende milele. Nikiwa na wewe mi sikosi lolote. Mini wako Juni wewe tu nataka forever. When I'm with you, I don't want another. Ni wewe tu nataka forever. When I'm with you, it's me and you. It's me and you. Even when I'm not with you, still my heart sings it true. The simple melody for you. Na siwezi fikiria mimi nawe tukitengana. Basi mpenzi amini, mimi nawe tunafanana. 'Cause my world belongs to you, to you, to you. And I wrote the song for you, just for you. Nikiwa na wewe mi sitaki mingine. Nipe mkono nikupende milele. Nikiwa na wewe mi sikosi lolote. Mini wako Juni wewe tu nataka forever. When I'm with you, I don't want another. Ni wewe tu nataka forever. When I'm with you, when I'm with you, your love it colors me, shades of gray or golden hue. The way it feels with you. Now nimeridhika. Once you call my name, every single wall you've got me breaking for you. Ni wewe tu nataka forever. I'm with you, moyo nitakupa. Ni wewe tu milele pamoja. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me sing.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.